La 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 la. Screen peeking. Bop bop bop.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Screen Peeking, a weekly podcast where Ziggy and I get together to talk about video games and everything video game related. This is episode 26 already, and we have a lot to talk about today. Like, lots and lots and lots. I do not know if we're going to get everything covered, but we're going to try. Ziggy, my co-host, how are you doing?
Good. It's been a minute. Yeah. I don't know if this was mentioned last episode, but yeah, my power was super out for like a whole week last time. So, the worst part is it came back on literally like 4 hours after you guys recorded. Like it came on like the night that we record. So, kind of unfortunate timing on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that week I was playing just like a couple phone games, one of which I want to talk about. And then, yeah, this week I actually started playing more, like, I don't want to say real games, because honestly, the games that I was playing were real games. I was pretty happy with them.
Let's just go into it. Like, why don't you just go
yeah.
into what you've been playing this week?
So, yeah, last week I was playing There Is No Game, Wrong Dimension, first of all. And that is a cool game. I believe it's like a sort of sequel to a Flash game that the creator made a while ago. But then they really like fleshed it out and brought it to like PC and mobile and stuff. And I heard good things. So like, I don't have anything else to play because I can't turn on my Xbox or my computer. So might as well, like, now's the time. And so I played that. It's really, really cool. So it's basically like it's sort of a point and click adventure game, I guess, but the whole sort of hook of it is that the game is sort of fighting back against you the whole time, where it has like this narrator talks to you, almost like Stanley Parable-esque. And so I'm just like, oh, this isn't a game, like, sorry, disappoint, like, you gotta turn back, there's nothing here. And then you like can like unscrew the title screen off and like find these buttons to do and stuff. And you sort of like strip away the outer shell and do all this cool stuff, sort of like breaking it down. It has some really, really cool puzzle design. It's just funny and interesting. There's a lot of I like the writing in it a lot. Like, there's a lot of fun references to like old games, like because you do that and you sort of travel between like dimensions, which are just different genres of games. And like one of which is basically like a 90s point and click game, and they sort of like make fun of that genre in sort of a loving way. Like, one of the things is you like paint a moon and then like use gum or something to stick it to the sky, and they're like, what even, like, just making fun of how like stupid that solution is, because it's totally in the vein of cheesy 90s adventure games. But yeah, it is super fun. It's like $5, I think, on your phone, so it's pretty accessible. And obviously it's a premium game, so there's no like microtransactions and stuff. It's just a good game on your phone. The other one I was playing was a Little Nightmares mobile game, which I didn't even know exists. I didn't get
like
super
official?
far in it. Yeah, I don't think it's made by Tarsier, but it's totally canon. Like, the story in it is canon, and it ties into the rest of the games as sort of a prequel. But it's neat. Yeah, from what I played, it's really neat. I didn't really get far enough in to say much about it, because by the time I downloaded that, my power came back on, so I got kind of sidetracked by other games, namely Persona 5 Strikers, which came out, and I was very excited for this.
That one looks
given
fun.
Given that it was basically a sequel to Persona 5, and having played it for I think 10-ish hours now, it definitely is, in terms of like style and writing and stuff. The thing that gets me about it is that it isn't fun.
Oh,
like,
no.
I like the gameplay in it just is really rough. Like, as an action game, it doesn't really feel good to play, and like the palace design in it is just subpar, in my opinion. Like, it does two of what I consider to be the cardinal sins in gameplay, which is adding in stealth for games that don't accommodate stealth well, and adding in platforming for games that aren't built for platforming. It does both of those in the first Palace, and it kind of stinks.
It does the same thing in regular Persona too.
But the stealth in that game, I think, like, the level design actually works with it. Like, it's really simple stealth. You're just hopping from spot to spot.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, you just press... I mean, it's not... It's, like, stealth. But this game doesn't let you do that. It tries to get you to like walk around enemies, but you can't really crouch or have any real way of effectively stealthing around. So you just like look and you're like, well, there's nowhere for me to ambush this guy, so I guess I'll try to just do my regular walk animation around him, and then you inevitably get caught and ambushed. I'm like, okay, well, this is dumb, but whatever. And like enemies don't really telegraph their attacks. Well, they do. Basically, there's a big pop up of like, I'm gonna use the Masio, and which is like the big psychic attack, and unless you're like me and you know all those moves and what they mean, which even then I don't really like. I kind of do in terms of the base game, but I don't actually know how they present themselves in here. You see that and you're like, okay, and so you kind of get your distance from them and you realize, oh no, that's a ranged attack. It can still hit me. And you're like, well, that was dumb. Like, you know, I've also been playing a lot of DMC5 this week, and the comparison of those two games as action games is really just night and day. Because, like, in DMC, when you're fighting a boss and he's about to do, say, a area of effect, like, ground pound move, you know exactly what he's going to do. So he, like, raises both of his fists and he, like, brings them down, and there's a big, like, shockwave animation that really tells you, like, okay, I need to get distance or, like, jump or something to evade this. There's none of that in here. It's just text pops up and then you get hit. You're like, okay, well, shit. And then you get stun locked because you can't get out of freeze effect enough. And then you get lightning, and then you can't get out of that. Then they knock you down, and then you can't get and then your guy dies. And it's I don't really like that. I don't like the gameplay at all. But it's hard because in terms of like the writing and the style and the stuff that makes me really, really like Persona is totally there. Like in the cutscenes and the dialogue, it feels like being home again with all that. Like the characters feel like themselves. So like I really, really want to keep playing because I really like what they're setting up the story and the way they've sort of like evolved the characters and stuff. But like actually getting through the palaces is just such a chore, unfortunately. But yeah, and then the final game I've been playing outside of our Game Club game is I started playing literally like 2 hours before we were recording because I saw like a YouTube video of it, and the way he talked about it, I was like, that is awesome. And it's an RPG Maker game called Omori that I think came out a few months ago. But it is really cool from what I've played so far. It's a lot more polished than most RPG games, RPG Maker games, which I appreciate. Like the pixel art looks really, really beautiful. It actually has like a good combat system, which is really, really rare for these games, where it has this cool like emotion mechanic where you can affect your party members' emotions by doing different skills and stuff, and it's sort of a like rock paper scissors thing where if someone is sad, they like have higher defense but lower attack, or if someone's angry, they have higher attack. Or no, if someone's I forget exactly what it is, but it like the three all sort of like are strong against each other and weak to others, which adds this really, really cool sort of gameplay flow, and it's super dynamic, and I really, really like it.
Is this it?
Yes, that is it. Yeah, the art style, as you can see here, it's got some neat like sort of hand drawn stuff that I really like, and some really cool pixel art in the overworld. If you're like me and you like sort of rough indie games that are depression metaphors or whatever, I think this is a really, really strong one of that. Like the whole depression metaphor genre, I am also kind of tired of, but I haven't seen a game do it this strongly in a long time from like the hour or so that I've played. Right. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I've played enough to go super in depth with it, but I have adored what I've played so far, and I'm definitely gonna finish it. But yeah, I think that's about it. What about you?
For me, I've just been playing some Pokemon MMO on my phone. There's like a way to like you have like 4 of these emulated games, and you can go all between them and interact with people, trade, and it's so much better than the regular ones in my opinion, because they just kind of cut out a lot of the time wasting crap. So I really like it. I've been having a fun time with that, just kind of playing it on my phone while whenever I'm watching a show or something with Taylor. So because I just have to keep my mind busy. I have a really hard time just sitting and watching a movie or watching a show. I like to be playing a game primarily, and the show is kind of in the background. Besides that, still playing Spider-Man PS5, kind of. I still want to finish it. Right now I have like my targets are to finish this game on PS5 before I play a different game on PS5, and then I have my PC game, which I've been playing, which is Dishonored 2 still. It's been like 2 weeks of me saying that, I think. And I'm just having a blast, and I've just been taking my time with it, really enjoying it. And that's my PC game right now. So once I finish that, though, I think I'm going to be going over to Disco Elysium. I never told you, but I bought that,
nice.
and I bought it with my refund for Nier Automata. So I'm hoping that that's a good exchange for myself, and I think it will be from what I've seen. I'm really excited, but I gotta beat Dishonored 2 before I go into it. It's already installed and ready to go. And then I really want to play Nioh 2 after Jesse was talking about it a bunch, so I might have to get that on PS5 once I beat Spider-Man. And then besides that, just our game club game, which before I get into, I do want to just like give a bit of praise to Dishonored 2, and just really like, I've beaten this game before, and just say, guys, if you haven't played Dishonored 2, give it a shot. Like, the one thing I
haven't.
You haven't, hey?
I haven't played it.
So
I haven't, no.
This is going to be interesting, I think, because we both played the medium recently. Now, the game gets a ton. I won't go into too much here because we have so much to talk about. Just know I could talk about this for like over a half hour probably. The level design in this game is just incredible and amazing. Ziggy, I saw you were like making a little level with your art channel and your art stuff. Like, where was that again, by the way?
Yeah, it was at Z Hicks art on Instagram, my art account. I went to open my phone to make sure it was that, but yeah.
Like, just if you're interested at all in like good level design, you gotta check out this game. Specifically, you always hear people talk about the Clockwork Mansion level in this game, because rooms, they transform, they rotate, walls are going into the floor is flipping, the stove becomes a wardrobe and things like that, but you can see the gears, you can see how the whole room is put together, and it actually seems functionally realistic. And you can hide in between the walls as they're transforming. Then the only way to get into a room is through a vent, and you're sneaking around, and it's so cool the way it's designed. That one's really confusing. That just like blew my mind when I saw that level. So like, that's really cool. But the one I want to highlight is this other mission. I think it's mission 6 or 7. And in this one, like, again, it's like a few missions into this game, and these missions aren't small. Like, I took my time and I was being stealthy and trying to get all the collectibles, and I'm spending like 3+ hours in one mission. So finally, I'm on mission 7 here, I think it is, and you get to this mansion, this big area, you got like a courtyard and stuff, you're inside, and there's this weird aura all around, and it makes it so you can't use your powers. And so they kind of just take your abilities away, and you have to actually be stealthy again, or fight, whatever you choose to do. But you're not teleporting, you're not seeing through walls, you're not summoning rats to kill people and eat them, or, you have to use your physical traps. You have to use your traps, and you have to use your wits to get around this place, right? So that's cool. And then because you don't have your powers, what they do give you is this time machine. And you're going, I don't remember the exact dates, let's just say 1880 and 1870 or whatever, but you're going like a 10-year gap-ish, and you're traveling between time in this mansion. Because what you are doing is, in the present, you see this guy, he's like got these issues or whatever, and he can't have a functional conversation with you, and there's other story reasons why you want to basically take him out in the past. And so what you have is this device, and it has these shards of glass that you can kind of open up in front of you because it blocks your view, but you can see into the other time period. So as you're going back and forth between time, you press left trigger and you just pop. You're instantly in that other world. And so the reason I bring it up is the medium, we keep talking about how, it's the next generation, we have this faster SSD, and you can see the two worlds at once, and like things that are different and stuff. I didn't realize that on I think it was the 360, or maybe it was just Xbox One for this Dishonored 2, but this game, it has two separate worlds, like different geometry on objects. Like, there's different things going on. Like, there's one point I was in the present, and there's a big pile of dust and sand in front of me, and I looked into the past, and that's gone, and there's a doorway under there. So I could pop back in time, go through that doorway, then pop back to the present and see what's there in the present, and things like that. Or there's a safe that's closed in the past, but in the present it's broken open, so I can kind of go forward and back in time, and you're going in and out of these like areas that are restricted. But it's more complicated than that in certain spots too. It's just, you have that feeling of like, wow, if I really want to, I can kind of see into this one time period, see that guard walking. When they turn around, then I'll pop into their time, choke them out, pop back into my time, and and it's this cool mechanic that I feel like did it so much better than the medium from what I've seen in videos. And again, I didn't play enough of the medium to really get far in it, but I just thought it was worth bringing up because that's what really stuck in my head was medium was talking all about this. This game's done it, and they did it in 2011, and they did it really well, and it was instant. You just press the trigger. It's not this whole cutscene. You just press it, you're there, and I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah, no, Titanfall 2 also has a really, really similar mechanic where, yeah, same thing. You like press L2 or whatever, and then just flip over, and with that, they do some really cool things with like combat and platforming scenarios. I agree. I always thought it was goofy in the medium's marketing because for me, like their whole thing is that they're rendering at the same time, but that's just like split screen. Like the split screen has existed since like forever, and that's always been a thing. Like that's what it is. You're rendering the game twice or 3 or 4 times, and so I always thought that bit of marketing was kind of goofy. But yeah, no, I Dishonored. I think I played the demo a while ago. I just have a hard time really like attaching myself to that universe. I think like the sort of like world and aesthetic, like the sort of Victorian,
the whale punk,
like whale punk type thing. Yeah, just does not do it for me in the slightest, unfortunately. But but no, I've from you and other people I've heard about like the level design and all that, and I do really like immersive sim style games, and I like stealth games, so I do feel like I need to try it out at some point, just really like force myself to get into it.
It's on Game Pass, which is even easier.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that's what I'm playing it on. Yeah, do it, man.
Shoot.
Like
okay.
Would you be more of an aggressive or a stealthy player? It sounds like you'd be more stealth.
It depends. I usually do it the way, like the kind of the basic way of stealth until I get caught and then just murder my way out.
So this game, the first one was very much pushing you to be stealthy, but the second one is like totally letting you be. Do you want to be aggressive? Do you want to like you only get limited resources? Do you want to put them towards being even stealthier or being more aggressive or being able to get out of a combat situation? And then you can get these bone charms, which are just like a passive, like think of it as like a passive bonus to your character that you can equip to slots, and you can unlock more slots. But like one of them could be higher chance for enemies to miss when they shoot at you, right? Something like that. Or you could have it where the spring razors, which are like these little mines you place on the ground, they shoot out wire and it like tears people into pieces. You could have a chance for him to fully disintegrate the body, and so that there's no body to be found, so you can't get a body detected, right? Like things like that. And then later on, if you choose to upgrade an ability of yours, you can actually break down these bone charms, get the ability from them, and then you can get up to 4 of that ability used over and over to increase the chances for these things to happen. So maybe your sleep dart, higher chance for it to not break. Maybe it's a small chance with 1 bone charm, but now you can break it down, get that ability, put it into 4 of them into a bigger bone charm, and then you you can upgrade in that way, which is a very unique way of like being able to do a stealth or combat kind of build. So do you want your mana to regenerate faster? Do you want to be able to recover from a fall faster? Do you want to be able to get a double jump kind of thing? Or do you want to be able to choke people out extremely quick versus like a 10-second choke almost or whatever? It's really, really cool how you can build it. So I definitely recommend it, man. Anyways, I talked about it long enough, and way longer than I meant to. But yeah, Dishonored 2, play it if you haven't. The next thing on our list here, though, is our Game Club game from last week. Ziggy, you weren't here, but I talked to you about it. We played the Outriders demo, and we got some opinions on that. Why don't you go first, and just tell me like what you thought of it? Where do you think this game's going, and how much fun did you have? And like, did you play with other people?
So I played it by myself. To go by the scale we've been going on with Game Club games, this is a definite thumbs down from me. I think it's been a while since I've played a game that I would consider bad. And from what I played, this is bad. Like, I was laughing out loud at a couple moments. And
dialogue?
Like, yeah, no, one moment specifically, I'll jump into with the other stuff I was going to say. I want to talk about this, though, where there when like it kind of does the time skip forward, like it's the future and it's gritty and you get kidnapped and then you see out in the storm and there's like a piece of rebar through your chest. He's like, whoa, like screaming in pain, and then it's like stops, fades to black, does it like choose your class, and then it, like the little menu like explaining the perks of each class. Like, what? Like, it was so jarring where it was this big intense moment. It suddenly just rips away all tension and asks you to choose like which path you're gonna go through this game. Like, you really couldn't have asked me to do this like 5 minutes earlier or later. Like, why did you bring this at like the heat of tension right now?
Right.
But yeah, man, I did not like it. I played probably an hour or so. I got past like that time skip, sort of the prologue, and played a bit into after that. I like it doesn't look good. I think it looks kind of ugly. I don't think it plays well. I like the shooting, basic like shooting at an enemy feels okay. It feels competent, but in terms of like the dodge roll where you press B, it goes like so far. I think I audibly went, whoa, the first time I pressed B in the game. 'Cause you go like probably 20 feet in one direction. Like, it is crazy.
I wish I could roll like that.
The enemy AI is not at all engaging to fight against. They just like sit and shoot at you. Like the first boss you fight was like laughably easy, where I killed the guys around him, and then he would just sit in one cover spot. He'd peek at shoot me, go, oh, before he can even shoot me, go back under cover, and I'd sit there waiting, like, I have to do anything but keep my reticle as where his head would go, and they pop up, I'm shooting me, like, oh, and then some of his health would go away, pop up, oh, and I did that for, like, a minute, and then he died. I was like, okay. And then after that, after shooting him in the head, like, a million times, and he fell over dead, I come over, because, like, nothing happens. I walk up to him, like, okay, like, what's your deal here? I'm like, you better not pull some dumb, like, action game bullshit on me, where, like, I won the fight, but then I die in cutscene. And then I see a pop that says, like, press X to confront or something. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, I just shot you in the head. You are laying here dead in front of me. And then I press that, and it, like, fades into a cutscene. I'm like, oh, like, do it! Or something, like, pinning him against a wall. I'm like, I killed this man. Then inevitably something happens, and I get hurt. Like, it was so just weird and frustrating. And I feel like that sort of reflects my whole experience, where it's just, like, a lot of really baffling shit happens. Like, the story almost was engaging to me just because of how, like, wild and just kind of dumb it got at times. Like, at first it sort of seems like almost Mass Effect Andromeda-y, which I was into. I liked that sort of hook. And then they completely get rid of that hook and go on some other stuff. But I'm kind of sad they did, because, like, at first I was actually interested in the story of, like, oh, this is kind of neat. Like, you know, this new planet, we don't know what's on there. We're trying to see if it's habitable and going, like, is it? You know, obviously it won't be super safe, because otherwise there wouldn't be any good narrative hooks. And I have no idea. This game has not been on my radar at all. I had no idea if you're fighting aliens or not on this planet. You aren't, from what I played. I didn't fight any aliens, just, like, weird sci-fi storms and people.
Just that first one, that first monster thing you have to kill.
Oh yeah. There's like some alien creatures.
The hyena cow.
But no, I think I don't know. Like a lot of the stuff I have to say about it. Like, at the end of the day, it is just kind of like a Destiny. So I guess if they can tune up the gameplay and make the loot good and all that, I'm sure people will enjoy it. But nothing this game does is interesting to me. Like, I enjoy cover shooters sometimes, but I think cover shooters live and die off the enemy AI, and because they're a very, like, tactical genre. Like, that's why Gears and The Division is fun to me, is because there's so much pressure from enemy AI, where they do flank you and they do things to get you out of cover and really, really keep you on your toes. This game doesn't do that at all. One thing I forgot to mention, I don't know if this is specific to, like, the tank class, which I chose, or if this is just how the game plays, but I remember after I chose my class, I was in a combat scenario, and there was, like, 12 people shooting at me, and I walked out of cover, and then just sort of stood there for a bit. It's like, and I realized my health bar was going down so slowly. It's like, okay, I shot a guy, killed him, and I gained so much health. Yeah, like I found it basically impossible to die from when I was playing. And I didn't choose a difficulty mode. I don't know if there is difficulty modes or if I just didn't get there yet or if I need to like go into settings and change it.
I'll
But
have
it
something to
was
say there.
like it was really really easy. Like I would have to just stand there and let them kill me to die because I gained so much health and lost so little from any damage. But yeah, I mean, I want every game to be good, and if they can really turn this around, launch like awesome. I'm still not gonna play it, but
Yeah.
like for people who are really looking for this type of thing, like that's great for you. But this demo was I wasn't interested in this game
Yeah.
before, and I'm definitely not interested in it now.
Yeah, for me, my brother and I have been watching it since, or like keeping an eye on it. We haven't been like, I wouldn't say excited, but there was a point when it first got shown that we were very excited, and then as time goes on, game hasn't come out, you don't get as many updates or whatever. It kind of fizzles out. And then when we found out that it got delayed, we were kind of like, that's fine, like whatever,
Yeah.
we'll check it out when it's out. And then seeing like they did like a 20-minute video on just what you're getting in this demo before, like the day before it came out. So I got to look into that, and that got me really excited. Actually, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a fun time. I get to a game that I can play with my brother. I haven't played much with him in forever, and it used to be something we did almost daily. So it just that need to have a game that we can play together was like is pretty high right now. I just really want to play something with them, a way to contact each other and like kind of hang out without being actually close to each other. So um for me, I was really looking forward to this, and yeah, I'm not excited for when it comes out. I don't know if I'm getting it. I'm still flip-flopping, honestly, like every hour. I don't think it's worth it, but because like just for what the game is, but for me to have a game to play with my brother that we might be able to just kind of dick around in and go through the story,
Yeah.
maybe it would be worth it for me. We'll see in April. I think it comes out April 1st. But yeah, just like April Fools, this game kind of was a joke in that.
I was
in that
about
demo.
to say that. That's a very
It's
fitting release date.
it's yeah. So let's start with visuals. Visuals. For me, I think I did something wrong because I was talking. So my brother, he has a pretty good PC. And he said he had no like he had stutters when we were playing online together. We tried out the crossplay beta that they had on, so we didn't compare that to like just regular playing online because we were also playing with a third person, his friend who was playing on PlayStation 4. His buddy on PlayStation 4, he doesn't really have an eye for that kind of for like frame rate and resolution and stuff. He's like, oh, seems fine on my system. And my brother and I were both noticing a lot of hitches when we were trying to play, and that really sucks when you're aiming and things like that. But also for me, I went into before I even launched the game, I went into like NVIDIA's GeForce app on the computer and actually like turned on optimal settings, and I realized it put on DLSS options. But when I went into the game, there was no DLSS options in the menus.
Oh,
I looked up and down, left and right. I looked everywhere throughout that. I restarted. I tried turning it off. There was no way when I clicked revert on the GeForce thing, it just stayed on. All the other options would revert back to the default.
Weird.
And I was like, how do I turn this off now? Because when I turned it on, it was before I started the game. Then I started the game, and in the first scene, right away, I could tell they had like dynamic resolution turned up like crazy, and they had like anti-aliasing was turned off in the setting when you put on DLSS.
Yeah, it is sharp.
It was very sharp. The grass and the hair on the characters, I was like, what am I looking at? And it was and then the blur, it just got like, it felt like 3 feet in front of me was like 360p, and and so that really bothered me a lot, and it made me like restart my computer and like tried fixing it, and like that took out like half an hour of my available time to even look into this game. It was like trying to figure out if I could turn this off. Eventually I just was like, whatever, screw it, started playing. And I actually played a little differently than you. My brother and I, because it was the three of us, we weren't interested in checking out the story. We decided if we wanted to see the story, we'll watch it when we get the game. But right now it's about playing the game, seeing what the game's like to play, because that's what's going to keep us anyway. So we actually skipped a lot of the cutscenes, so I never got to see like the jarring stopping when it's an intense moment or anything like that. But I did notice all the dialogue when you're playing the game and just how I think the voice acting is awful. But
it's so bad.
But my brother and I love that. We just were like, you know what? This
Yeah.
is a game that I'm okay with it being goofy, and not even if it's on purpose. It's if it's by accident.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
just fun to laugh at, and just, you're playing with your friends. So it doesn't have to be. I can never be serious in a story when I'm playing with my brother.
Mhm.
We're shooting things in the face, we're rolling and bumping into each other, whatever we're doing. So if our characters sound like bumbling idiots and they're making dumb comments about the smell of the air and stuff like that, like whatever, like just do your thing. That's fun to me. And so I was really focusing on gameplay, because gameplay is the thing that could keep me, just like how Destiny didn't start that great, but the gameplay was good. I don't think it's here. I think you're spot on when you said the AI is not great, and the fact that they don't try to flank you. You have like 30 guys and they're all sitting in cover about 100 yards away shooting at you, and you're stuck there with the third guy on our team. He had 2 shotguns. And he's like, I can't shoot them. I have to get up there. So he'd run up and you see him die.
Yeah.
And we would be like, my brother and I was playing the pyromancer. My brother was playing the technomancer, or whatever it is that, like, it has like turrets and ice and stuff like that. And our buddy was playing the trickster. He would teleport and like slice guys and stuff like that, slow down time. It was a good combination. It was fun to play together. We had our moments of fun, but it definitely felt very stuttery. It ran poorly on my computer, which I have a good computer, Ryzen 7, RTX 2080.
Yeah, I was
it
playing
should
on
be
my Series
fine.
X as well. I had
And
similar performance issues.
even on this console, hey,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
felt like maybe it was because too much hardware for them, like a smaller team. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I was pretty choked on that. Definitely didn't notice music at all, but I skipped cutscenes. And I did notice that the guns sounded pretty good. I thought they sounded all right. There was some decent, like the thumps and everything that actually sounded good. But yeah, on the controller, the aim assist felt really off to me. I really had to
same.
tweak my settings on that one to feel good, and even then it was okay. And I could see the loot just starting to have some interesting perks on it, but I don't like personally when people compare this to Destiny, because I feel like this game's more like Borderlands, just a not as good Borderlands. I actually think that it's compared to Destiny because you can get armor for your character, and if Borderlands did that, I would say it's closer to Borderlands, because it sounds like it's more of a complete, here's your story, beginning, middle, end, whereas Destiny is like literally is a games as a service. This game is being sold as like a package. You will have DLC and stuff, sure, but I feel like it's closer to a Borderlands 3 than in terms of like what they're trying to do. There's no PvP.
Okay.
They're not worried about builds being like overpowered as much, and they are just trying to make a full-on story content, like, whatever it is. I think they said like 35 hours gameplay, or of gameplay. And
yeah, I didn't know that. I just assumed
so
they were going for a similar like Anthem, Destiny model of games as a service.
Yeah, not just you, like just I hear people talking about it and comparing it to that. So it's just in general, I'm like, I think it's closer to like a Borderlands thing than that personally.
It's almost even a little more disappointing to me then, because like for me, what like to be a good games as a service, you just kind of have to have a fun gameplay loop, like story and character. Like Borderlands works as a really great co-op game because, like you said, like when you're playing a game with a friend, it's hard to really engage yourself in a story. But Borderlands, you don't really need to. Like it's not some amazing narrative, but it's fun. Like it's goofy and it's dumb, and these characters are all super charming. Like it's just charming and fun to laugh at and with. Yeah. And the gameplay is good. That's an important one. But like this just lacked any sort of like charm, or the only sense of fun I got from the story was just laughing very much at it.
Yeah.
Like just thinking that it's dumb. Which, yeah, I don't know. It's unfortunate. I mean, this is definitely a very Ziggy take, but I kind of wish that every game had a good story, and I don't think a good story has to be Nier Automata or Lisa or something like these amazing, like, philosophical, mind-bending experiences. Like, a good story can also be Devil May Cry, which is, like, a very simple story about, like, rivalry and revenge, or not even really revenge, just, like, it's pretty by the books, but it's also extremely entertaining and fun, and, like, there's a lot of emotion behind that rivalry, and it makes fights and missions way more interesting when they have narrative weight behind it. And I personally don't really have the excuse of like, oh, it's an action game, it doesn't really, like, it's not a story game, it doesn't need an amazing story. And I agree, it doesn't need like amazing like god tier writing and all that, but I still feel like an entertaining and competent story. Like I do think every game needs that to some degree, like, or not necessarily needs, but it helps games like this, especially when it's a long 40-hour game, you know, not just like Mario or something. But and it's definitely, yeah, I don't know, that was sort of
we
like
can
a
move
weird
on.
tangent.
Yeah, we're both pretty cold on it, so yeah, let's move on though, because we've given it so much time and there's so much more.
There
yeah,
is, true.
Let's cap this next one off at like a quick 5-minute topic.
All right.
Days Gone coming to PC, more PlayStation games coming to PC. Lots of people whiny about it. I think it's great. You think it's great. Awesome. Next topic. State of Play was on the 25th, and there was actually some cool stuff being shown on that one. Ziggy, did you get a chance to look at it or see? Or
I
did you
did,
check out the trailers?
I watched this while I was doing art or something, just like playing in the background.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was interesting because I was kind of comparing this in my head to the Nintendo Direct before.
Yeah,
and
same.
I feel like they were honestly really similar showings. But I came out of the State of Play not feeling disappointed, and I think that's all expectations. Like,
I think it's more my preference of what I like.
Yeah, like with the Nintendo one, there was that sense of like, it's been over a year. I don't know shit about what's happening. Nintendo, this better be fucking good. Like, I don't know anything about this year. For Sony, we do, and we know there's good games coming in. Going into this, I was like, yeah, we're probably not going to get God of War or Horizon or any of the big ones, but like, I'm excited to see Kena. I'm excited to see Solar Ash, and we did see those, and like, we didn't learn anything super groundbreaking about those games, but it's like, cool. Saw some games I'm excited for. There was only really one game, Sifu, which I don't know if you want to talk about that. Like, that was the only game that they announced that I was really excited for.
I'm trying to find it on their little thing here, but I don't know when they showed it. But yes, why don't you go into what you thought of it while I find the footage?
All right. Yeah, so it's made by the same people who made what's that game? Absolver, which is, I played a little bit, and it's
I didn't know they made that one. That's cool.
Yeah, and that's a really, the hand-to-hand combat in the game feels really, really good. So I think this game is in really good hands. And yeah, it's sort of a like modern urban martial arts looking game with like the stuff they're showing in the combat seems really cool, where like he's hitting the one guy and like hit the other guy behind him like without looking back and stuff. Like, it just seems it seems really stylish.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, I can imagine this game probably feels awesome to play, and I know Ziggy's gonna be interested in this. Those are the two things I thought of right away. Like,
and yeah, the sort of the mechanic as you can see here, where he like dies and then like gets older and comes back to life or something. I'm not really sure what that mechanic is, but
yeah, I was like, do you grow hair when you die, or what's going on there? You just
except at the end he's like an old man.
You end up with the longest ponytail. Oh, so you age? You think?
Yeah, something like that. And I'm not sure what sort of like gameplay ramifications that has, but yeah, just like the music and the style. This trailer is just awesome. I'm so hyped.
That's fine. I was like, I want to know what it's like to play. It looks like it's really fun to play. I like the art style. Now that you talk about like how he's getting older and stuff like that, like, what if I hope your hair just gets longer. You just end up with the longest ponytail, and it's a weapon at the end of the game. But no, like if you actually get older, or maybe it's like as you gain experience, it's like something mixed with that, where like that's you getting older and wiser or something. Like, I don't know. Regardless of what that is, I think this looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, the combat definitely, like, it looks really, really deep just from that trailer. Like, it looks like a game that I can play a shit ton of and get really, really good at, which I'm all for. Like, I love doing that in games. But yeah, like, Kena Bridge of Spirits, I was hyped for before, and I'm still very, very hyped for. Like, the game looks just beautiful. Like, looks like a Pixar movie is kind of a really common thing people talk about with, like, games with stylized graphics, but I'm pretty sure this team is made up largely of ex-Pixar employees. So when I say it looks like a Pixar movie, I mean it like very, very literally. Like if you showed me this trailer and said, "Oh shit, like Pixar's putting out a new movie," I would believe you. I'd say, "Oh cool, this looks really neat."
Yeah, I was showing this to
And
Taylor, and when I was showing it to her on like my phone, we were in bed and just about to go to sleep, and I was like, I have to show you this. Maybe you want to play it. Like
mm,
maybe this would be a fun one. Like I'm gonna get it regardless, but maybe you want to play this
mm,
too. So I'm showing it to her, and then we finish the video, and then I start scrolling down on YouTube, and it like a couple videos down, there's an actual like I can't remember what the name of the video is, but there was a new video, and it's a new movie coming out, and there's a trailer for a new Pixar movie, and yeah, the visual style and everything, I was like, wow, you could tell games have gotten there. That's awesome. Like that was the first thing
yeah.
I thought was like, that's so cool. Games are at this point now. Like look at that.
Mhm.
That's just, every scene I saw in my reaction video was like, this is so pretty.
Yeah, yeah, that shot right there, that's gorgeous. And yeah, like the hair simulation, everything, it looks amazing. I'm really, really excited. Hopefully the game plays well and has a good story too, but
Yeah, the
on
cutscenes will be
visuals alone,
incredible. I know it.
like,
I know it.
oh my god, yeah. And yeah, Deathloop, we didn't really see much that was super groundbreaking, if I remember correctly, but like I'm still excited for it. Returnal, I still think looks neat and interesting, and I want to try it. I don't know if I'm willing to spend $60 on it because that's kind of a steep price
Hmm.
for what they're marketing, in my opinion. Um, but I mean, I might be something I buy a year later when it's like $20 or something.
Yeah,
Um,
this is my biggest question mark from what they showed me. Of like,
yeah.
I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know if I want to be excited or if I just want to see what it's like by watching other people. You know, like
Mhm.
how much do I want to learn about it before I decide that's just not for me? I don't know. It's weird. I'm
Mhm.
so on the fence.
Yeah, no, I mean the vibes and the art style are super, super my type of
Hmm.
shit. And even like the weird sort of like story elements that they're putting into a what essentially looks like a roguelike
Yeah,
is
yeah,
I always like that sort of thing. And honestly, just like a very AAA looking roguelite is interesting to me in of itself. Like that I
absolutely.
correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that's something we've really gotten before. Like a real big budget roguelike. Like they're usually like
I can't
like
think
Enter
of
the
any.
Gungeon or something, that type of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah. So the idea of that really kind of is fascinating to me.
I
And I do really want to play it, but yeah, I mean I think if this was $40, I'd be more interested. Just like shelling at that price for it seems maybe a little bit too steep in my opinion.
yeah.
Um,
For me, like I when I was seeing this, I loved that you got to see the HUD. You got to see like actually what this is
mhm,
like when you're playing it, and truly it got me more excited for the game than I have been. But like right here, you
mhm.
use the special effects. Look at what's happening in there. Like I couldn't tell what was happening. Like oh, I guess the thing is are
Yeah.
dead. And I made a comment in my video where I was just like, one of my biggest gripes when I first saw the game was was that I felt like the effects were there's too much or something is wrong with these effects where I can't tell what I'm doing or what is happening,
Yeah.
and I don't like that. But I love the creatures, I love the environment, I love the style. I like roguelikes, and I think this is such an interesting looking one. I really find a lot of things about it interesting, and a lot of things about it that I want to play and experience, like different upgrades every time you're going through, and how it's randomized with
Mhm,
what enemies are there, how many enemies, what the I'm gonna say dungeon is like, how the
mhm.
layout is. I think that's all really awesome, and I do want to play it, but I feel like this is gonna be one of those games where I pass up, and then maybe 2 years from now I get it on PlayStation Plus for free,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It'll be one of those like brought for the month PS games with not gold, but whatever they're called.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool, but yeah, interesting. Interesting to see how they go with that. Um, what else do
Then
they have?
the
Oh
Solar
yeah,
Ash too we saw. Same thing. Like stuff we saw in there didn't blow my mind, but like I really really like Hyperlight Drifter. I will probably also really really like Solar Ash. Like just that studio's art direction is bar none, and so I'll probably play it just for that. Um,
yeah. The
and
Before
the
you
or
go to the
sorry.
next one, yeah, Solar Ash here. When they were showing this, because I love Hyperlight Drifter, like I love it, love the style. I think yeah, Heart Machine does some of the best like environmental. I don't know what you'd call it, but I'm not saying storytelling, but like just everything I see in this game, I want to stop and just stare at it for a little bit and think
Yeah.
like, wait, what am I looking at? Why is it like that? That's very
Mhm.
interesting. What's going on there? Why is there a light glowing in the center of that disc up or the ring up there. You know, I find it very interesting to look at everything that they make. And I was very like, look at this thing. What is that creature? I want to stare at it for a while.
Yeah.
But like I don't want to play this game now. I was very excited when I first saw the trailer, but watching this, I actually got less excited. So for me, this is actually one that I think kind of lost me a bit. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But yeah.
What did it show that lost you? Just like the gameplay?
They were talking about movement, and I think movement's so fun and so important, but for me it looked a little too slippery. I didn't find it and maybe it feels differently, but it didn't look like as in control as I would want. And the combat there, I felt I didn't see the strategy in combat. It looked like a lot of slicing and then just jumping. I don't know. It just didn't look interesting. So for me, it looked a little bit more uninteresting than I thought it would be. Whereas Hyperlight Drifter, I felt like I was always trying to avoid things, and I guess I just didn't see the difficulty in this. But I'm sure it's there. I don't know. Something about what I saw here just really didn't sell me on the game. But the other one that we were looking at there, what was it? Whoops, wrong tab. Yeah, the Final Fantasy remake. Why don't you talk about that for a bit? Because I know nothing about Final Fantasy. This did nothing for me. I didn't know if this was exciting, if this is a sequel, or if this is just like one of those little, here's a bit of extra content.
Yeah.
And if it is, are people upset that they're not putting their full team into this like next part of the remake? Or, you know, I don't know. I just don't know what to think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely I'm excited for it. Seems similar to what they did. I've only played Final Fantasy 15 and 7 remake just for. I've only finished those games. I should say I've dabbled in some others, but I know Final Fantasy 15 had a bunch of like chapters of DLC where they just did little side stories about certain characters and had some fun extra gameplay mechanics to it, and. Yeah, I mean, this looks similar to that, and I think it looks cool. I have no idea what's happening with these characters. I don't know if they're already in the Final Fantasy VII universe or not. I'm not very versed in the whole, like, very expanded universe of that game. But I love Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm going to play this probably, maybe if I have time. I don't know. Like, it's a side story, so I feel like I don't necessarily have to, but if I have time, this will definitely be something that I check out because I think it looks fun, and I'm always looking for a reason to go back to games that I like. So, checks out. Also, actually, side note on the footage you're showing, her run cycle is so weird.
Yeah,
where she sticks out her arms like Mario. It's kind of funny.
I was getting like the Naruto vibe personally.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm not much more to say than that, other than like. Also, this boss looks like something from Nier Automata.
It totally does, and I was like, "Hey, I know enough to say that." Yeah, Deathloop was the last one I wanted to talk about, and I think I told you before that I haven't been as interested in this as I wanted to be. But watching this last trailer, it's so interesting to me how much trailers have affected my excitement lately. But this one really got me actually more than the last few that we saw. I've always been somewhat interested in this game. I've never been fully like, I'm not getting this. This is not for me. But I have been kind of hesitant because I realized at the beginning, I thought this was a multiplayer game.
Oh, no.
No, like when they first showed the trailer, I thought this was all a bunch of assassins, like way back, like we're talking back in June last year or whatever it was, right? I thought this was a multiplayer game, and then after they showed their next trailer, I was like, oh, no, it's not. Okay, that's cool. And then this, but I still didn't understand what you're doing or what the point of the game was. So then after seeing it, I guess a third time, because again, all these times I never looked into it more than what I saw in the trailer. So I'm that casual gamer that, you know, would see this all you're seeing is the trailers. What is your feeling on this game, right? I guess I got that kind of accurate representation there, but like for me, I didn't know what I was getting into. Now I understand more what's happening, what this game's about, and with playing Dishonored 2 lately and using the powers and find them really fun, but they are very focused on stealth powers. This seems a lot of fun to have powers that are more focused on being aggressive, snapping people's necks and just taking people out.
I love the one where you just like fucking toss people. You just,
like, lift the little flick to the side.
Yeah.
Oh, right
that
here,
looks
right
so
here.
much
I think it's
fun.
coming up here. If I remember. Yeah, right here, and then
just
flip to the side.
It looks like so much fun. Yeah, no, I honestly have been super excited for this game from the start, which is funny because I don't really have much experience with Arcane. I played Prey, and I played it. I don't think I finished Prey, but I played a bit of Prey, and I loved that from what I played. But I think it's the art direction of this one pushes me a little bit more towards it than something like Dishonored. Like I mentioned, that world doesn't really grab me, but like this with, I mean, I absolutely love time loop games, so right off
Mhm.
the bat I was hooked. And then yeah, that sort of like 70s aesthetic just so does it for me. I love that.
Mhm.
But yeah, it just raised my hype levels for me. Like it didn't really show me necessarily anything I didn't know.
Right.
But I just seeing it again made me happy to see it and still excited for it. And I don't know, I'll probably play it on X or on PC. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Won't have to get a PS5 or anything.
Yeah, it seems like a good one for me to get on the console. It's one that I'll be able to kind of casually play here and there. But yeah, no, I'm definitely sold now. I think it just needed to drive home what it was for me, and I was just being an idiot and didn't really understand much other than I like Arcane, but I didn't know what I was doing in the game, so it didn't let me get excited
Yeah.
yet. Because it really is just a montage of you killing people over and over again, which is what you're doing, of course, in most games. But it didn't get relayed to me in a way that I understood for some reason.
Yeah.
But moving on, because we are getting close to the end of the show for today. I just wanted to touch on, and these are going to be pretty quick topics, but I do think that they're important to bring up. Pokemon, they had a presentation of Pokemon Presents, they call it, this morning at 7. I was up already, so I did a little video on that. If you want my full reaction, you can check it out on the YouTube channel. But they revealed what people have been wanting. A lot of people who are huge Pokemon fans, we've all been predicting and hoping for a Diamond and Pearl remake. Those games came out way back on the not PlayStation, on the DS. Yeah, they did a little video here. I'll play in the background, and they basically just like were like, "Yep, we're doing it." So that's really cool, and I'm excited for that. But I'm not going to get it. I love it when an old game that you can't really as easily go back and access gets pulled forward to where more people can experience it. For me, just from my own personal experience, like it was the second generation of Pokemon I really got to play with, even though it's not the second generation of Pokemon. And I remember late nights playing where you could go down into the caves underneath this one place and you could just go up. It's like a little mini game. You have like a wall with stones and gems in it, and you'd be tapping on it with the DS bottom screen of the DS, and you're trying to get these gems, but every time you tap you make a crack, and if there's too many cracks in the wall falls apart and you lose everything. And I just remember playing this over and over because you would get this currency you could use to buy furniture and decorations for a little home base. And then it was also the first Pokemon game that let you trade worldwide, I believe. So that was really cool and new. And the fact that they're bringing it forward with like new graphics, they have these weird little chibi character designs I'm not really a fan of, but other than that though, it's really cool to see the game brought forward. And I've been playing it on the Pokemon MMO on my phone, so I've been right away I could see the comparison of graphics right away. That's just nice to look at, but really it's just nice to be able to have the game playable on your Switch. If they just just ported over the original version onto the Switch somehow, I would be happy with that too. But yeah, really cool that they showed this. Then the second one that they showed was another Pokemon game, and they just went right into it right after the trailer. And this was really cool to me.
Yeah, as I do not give any shits about Pokemon. It is not a franchise I care about. This looks really cool.
Yeah, finally like, Breath of the Wilding Pokemon.
Yeah, and it is so Breath of the Wild too. Like, or we should probably say the name of the game.
Yeah, but it's Pokemon Legends Arceus or Arceus.
Yeah, but it is absolutely Breath of the Pokemon, and like that shot is from the Breath of the Wild trailer. Like watching this, it is so note for note Breath of the Wild that is kind of funny to me. Like the piano music in the background too, and all that. I mean, it seems kind of shameless, but at the same time, I don't really care. Like I think for what Pokemon is, I do think is a really, really good fit for this type of game. Where I mean, you are just exploring and finding cool stuff, and that from what I understand, is kind of the spirit of the series, is just like discovery, like discovering new Pokemon and their evolutions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think doing that in a format that is even more all just like totally all about discovery is exciting to me. Even as someone who, as I said, I don't usually vibe with the way the game usually plays. But yeah, I'm legitimately quite excited for this. I think it looks really neat.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see for myself. I was told that they've shown it somewhere, and they probably did. This is probably me making something from nothing, but I didn't see them say that this was coming for Switch. I remember them. I felt like they were just showing this is a game we're making. So I'm excited to like look into that, see if they've confirmed for Switch. Because if they haven't, I could see this being another. They said 2022 for this. I assume there's going to be another Switch by then, or a next console. So what if this was something that I could see them putting on both? Sure, but that would be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring it on. I think Pokemon needs to be changed. They obviously need time to be able to like redo all those. There's so many moves in that game, and to be able to redo the animations and the effects for all those, and be able to make it impact properly and all that stuff. Like there's so many Pokemon to add into the game and bring into an open world and make that work, and they've never done that for their team at least. So that'll be really cool to see. I'm happy with that. I just hope that there's a way to do co-op still in that world. That will be I feel like Pokemon needs to be, it is a social game, 100%. You're battling with each other, you're trading with each other, you're doing little freaking, I don't know, little beauty contests and feeding buns and curries to your critters. So I don't know. Like I just think that's it's something that needs to be cooperative, and I hope they do that. But we'll see in 2022 or later. They said early 2022. I'm guessing late 2022 at least.
I don't believe that. I don't even really believe 2022, but I also do hope that there is a Switch Pro by this time, because my one negative from this trailer is, boy, that frame rate is rough the whole time. It's like a good crunchy 20 FPS.
It's pretty blurry too.
Yeah, which is unfortunate and still doesn't look as good as Breath of the Wild, which I don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's an unfair comparison, but
no.
It's a little disappointing to me that, but at the same time, I don't know. Breath of the Wild is one of the best games ever made. So
and it was also made for
comparing games to it.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild was made for a previous generation console.
That's true, actually. that was a cross-gen game. I do forget about that a lot. But yeah, I mean, I if they clean up the frame rate and make it perform a little better than it does in the trailer, which I'm sure they will. This game is still like at least a year out.
Oh yeah.
I think it looks awesome. I think this is really, really promising.
Cool. Well, let's go right into our our favorite 50 games of all time. We're on to number 45.
45.
So, Zig, why don't you give me your number 45 favorite game of all time?
All right. This is one you're going to vibe with a little bit, I think. So my number 45 is Katana Zero.
Oh, yay!
Yeah. I actually just replayed this game recently, busted through it. And it's still really, really, really good. There is a lot of indie games that try to do a similar thing as this, especially in a post-Hotline Miami world, where a lot of games tried to do this sort of synthwave aesthetic, and I would say probably 80% missed the mark, because I feel like that sort of aesthetic is so oversaturated at this point. Like, I see so many games with it, and none of them really stand out anymore. But despite Katana Zero coming out in that really saturated market for this type of game, it still totally stands out. Like, visually looks unique, plays unique, feels unique. The story is batshit insane, and I love it. It just nails the spirit of what made Hotline Miami great without feeling like a Hotline Miami clone. And I think that's really, really high praise, because Hotline Miami, very high on my list. Very, very high on my list.
I need to play that still. Oh, man.
You really do.
I hope it works on Xbox or on PC. I couldn't get it.
Yeah, I have trouble with because you tried to play it on Game Pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I feel like Game Maker, for whatever reason, doesn't work with Game Pass. Like, because I've also tried to play a Game Maker game, and I similarly just couldn't from Game Pass, and I don't know why or what that is. Hopefully it gets fixed, and hopefully it's a known issue or something. I don't really know. But anyway, keep talking about this game. It is incredible. The animation is like so good for a pixel art game. Like, it looks so smooth and incredible, and it's just such a smooth action game. Like I said, a lot of games try to do that sort of like one shot, one kill style of game where you can kill everything in one shot, but you also get killed in one shot. And I think a lot of them also kind of miss the mark on that, but this nails it so well of quickly, like again and again and again, dying, repeating, going in there. And also sort of thing where you can kill like 3 guys in one sword blow. It's just like the combat is so satisfying and so fun. I was actually hyped for this like years before it came out because I was such an Online Miami fan. It seemed so true to that, and it was better than I was expecting, even
it's so great
despite
when that
my
happens.
monstrous hype for it. Yeah, and I really just cannot praise this game enough for what it is. I think the reason it's 45 over others is just because, like I said, it doesn't feel like Hotline Miami clone, but I think so much of what makes it great is very directly taken from that game. And I do sort of put uniqueness definitely pretty high on how I regard this list. And I don't think that takes away from it at all. It does definitely form its own identity within that, but it does a very similar thing. If you hadn't played either or, like just going in blind, I think you would probably have a very similar experience with them. But yeah, I play this game if you haven't. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I totally agree with everything you said on that. Like, I'm so glad that you introduced me to that game for one of the game club weeks back when we were doing different games. I loved that game so much, and it's on my list. It's not my number 45. But like you mentioned about like how we kind of weight, our higher level games here, and like for me, I think one of the criteria for me on like what makes it higher on the list is what are my chances of wanting to replay this and then what are my chances of wanting to replay it at any time, not just in the mood. So that definitely affects my list to a degree. But my 45 game is, it's a bit of a weird one, but Wii Sports. I'm calling it a game. I'm calling it a full-on game because it is. And that game was such a great one for family time. What? What'd you say?
That's so awesome. It's so funny that's on your list. Oh, no.
Yeah, like that game just showing what you could do with a motion controller, like that was so new to me at the time and to so many people, right? And the fact that you had grandparents with, like, my grandparents had a Wii at one point, and they never touched the thing. They used it for Netflix, but the fact that they had it, and the fact that Wii Sports was always that thing that everyone could play and try out together. Like, you could tell your parents to come over and bowl with you, or you could play tennis, or you could box each other. Like, you could do whatever. And like, really, other than Zelda Skyward Sword, that's the best example of the Wii hardware right there. I don't really have a ton to say on it, but it definitely deserves a spot, and I definitely still put it over my other 5. Like, it's a great game. I have a blast with it every time I go to play, and if you're drinking, it's even more fun and more dangerous. So yeah, that's all I have to say on that one. So.
Yeah, so do you think it's better than Wii Sports Resort, out of curiosity?
I do, yeah. I do have a bit of nostalgic value on that for sure.
Yeah,
but I was playing Wii Sports Resort recently and Wii Sports, and Taylor and I had more fun with Wii Sports. We didn't find the games in Wii Sport Resort as fun to play, even though they still had, I think, bowling, and they might have still had, maybe they had all the games. So maybe if they do, maybe Wii Sport Resort should be on my list, but I don't think they have all of them.
Yeah, I think it's missing like tennis.
Yeah, like I liked the tennis one.
Boxing, I don't think it has. Yeah, it definitely has different games.
I actually forgot Wii Sport Resort exists, but I know I played them both in the same weekend with Taylor. So I'm still gonna say Wii Sports. It has that nostalgic value. Like, they're both really good. actually. So, but that one is the one that I go to every time. Like, which
This
one
is
do
a
you put
list
in?
filled of bias.
I actually have
Yeah.
both of them over there. Damn it. But yeah, no, Wii Sports. That's my number 45.
Awesome. Yeah. And also you brought up Skyward Sword earlier. I didn't get a chance to talk about this last episode.
Oh yeah.
I do not. First of all, moment of silence for every other Zelda fan out there that is not me.
Yes.
But for me, selfishly, thank you, Nintendo. Thank you for making my dreams come true and giving me what I wanted. I wish it wasn't $60 for what is essentially a port, for getting the same package as Mario Galaxy, which was in a 3-pack, and we're getting it for the same price for one game on the same fucking 8. Yeah, that pisses me off. But whatever. I will still buy it, and I'm still gonna love it. Skyward Sword, let's go. HD. Hopefully they clean up the tutorials. There it is.
I'll just go.
Copy somewhere.
I can just go play this on my Wii U right now. I'm not gonna pay for another version.
I still have my Wii. I have not boxed away or given up my Wii. I think one of my sisters took it for a while, and I wanted it back because I wanted to play Skyward Sword again. And after this, I do not have to think about my Wii ever again, and that makes me so happy. I hate the Wii. I hate that console so much.
The one thing I love about this is the right here. It's hard to see because of our thing, but it's like it includes a music disc.
Oh, really?
The 25th
Whoa.
the 25th anniversary. Where is that going to appear? It's
gone.
It is not interested in showing it, but there's a disc in there. Just trust me. But yeah, I remember getting that and actually ripping all the files from there and putting it on my phone and my computer and just listening to that over and over again. It's like the orchestral, like all the like music from the game, and that was fun to listen to, especially that main theme. That's such a good one. Yeah, you should check out the episode from last week though, Zig. See my and my brother's comments on that game, because yeah, we're excited about it.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, totally.
No, it's funny. Because I was gonna watch the direct later, so I didn't want to like look at any of the announcements, and I was like on my break at work, and I saw like 12 notifications from a Discord that I'm in, who all of us are all huge fans of that game. And someone was like, "Holy shit, Groose on Nintendo Switch!" And then like sent the trailer. We all just started like freaking out over the fact that Groose can be in HD. But yeah, it's hype for me. I'm selfishly very, very excited for this.
No, I'm very happy for you.
I think they are going to do more for the 35th anniversary. Like I definitely don't think this is it. My guess is they're waiting until April, right? Until after like the celebration for Mario is over, and then I imagine they'll get into like, announcing more stuff and doing more for the anniversary than just a HD remaster of a not super well regarded game. But yeah, either way, I'm excited personally.
Yeah,
we've gone way over time.
That's not too bad actually. But yeah, we never really confirmed, but our game club game for next week. I was going to. We talked about 2. What if we do Wreckfest?
Okay, I'm down.
Okay, let's do the Wreckfest then. We're gonna play Wreckfest, and we'll come back next week with our impressions on it, just like we did this week with Outriders. You stayed around this long, thank you, really appreciate it. If you want to check either of us out, there's links in the description below. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want to continue checking out our videos and see what we have to talk about next. Until then, see you guys next time. Bye.